It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price.
It's the Patriot Pastor. Macil Duncan will be on the air real shortly. That was just a little pre-music. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I like that song by Mr. Coffee. If you haven't heard the whole thing, it's a good song. Great message. But I will tell you this: as we go into the show today, we've got a lot of things to talk about. And Harvey Weinstein, if you haven't heard, Harvey the Weinstein, they found a technicality. He's about to get some of his convictions possibly dropped. It'll be up to Alvin Bragg, believe it or not, to see if he reissues charges. Now, is he so wrapped up in Donald Trump? Remember, he dropped 72% of all of his cases. Folks that had been convicted, he just let them go free so he could focus on his quest to get Trump. This and some other things will be coming up in the show. The other thing I'll be bringing up to you is there's some other breaking news. Democrats are more and more vocal about their disappointment in Biden and his policies. I got a famous rock and roller I'll tell you about that said she's voted Democrat all of her life, but not anymore. And we'll be back.
Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White.
Well, we've got a lot of stuff going on today. I hope you guys are having a good one. It's been one of those days for me where I'm sensing a lot of good stuff happening. There seems to be a lot of people around the country living in this, what do I celebrate? Do I celebrate some of the sport things happening? Your politics are a mess. It's hard to get excited about either GOP or DNC because right when one looks like they're having a victory, they fail. And this political season going in 2024 is looking to be something that's I don't think anyone has a true clue of what's going to go on. But the one thing I think we all know is the court system in America doesn't seem to be right. I think a lot of us question. Now, I know some judges here in town. I went to school with Leila Statham, and I know Barry. His father was pastor at First Baptist Red Bank. But anyway, there are a lot of great judges here locally. But some of these judges in the upper appeals level, it makes you wonder what makes them tick. Now, I'm just going to cover this Harvey Weinstein situation because I think a lot of us are shocked. Does anybody remember when this was the leading news, this guy being convicted and considered a bad guy?
Developing news, Harvey Weinstein has been sentenced in a Los Angeles courtroom to 16 years for rape convictions. In December, Weinstein was convicted on 3 counts of rape and sexual assault. The 70-year-old was sentenced to 8 years on count 1, 6 years on count 2, and 2 years on count 3, all to run consecutively. He is already serving a 23-year sentence after a conviction on similar charges in New York. Weinstein pleaded not guilty at both trials and has denied all allegations of non-consensual sex.
Okay, so I've got to ask you this. Do you believe Harvey? Do you believe the victims? I think a lot of folks are kind of going, well, we were always taught to believe the victims, right? Now, I also know there's a little saying we love in our country, innocent till proven guilty. Well, he claimed to be innocent, but he was proven guilty, right? He goes to jail. You don't rape women. You don't drug women to have sex with them. You don't force yourself on them, or you don't promise them that they'll be a star if they do what you say. But evidently, that was then, this is now. This is what's going on with Harvey Weinstein as of today.
And we have breaking news. Disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein's New York conviction for felony sex crimes has just been overturned by the State Court of Appeals. The court ruled that the judge made an error when allowing other sexual assault victims of Harvey Weinstein to testify in that case. The decision leaves open the possibility that District Attorney Alvin Bragg could indict Weinstein again on the same charges. So that ruling does not mean Weinstein will walk free. He's currently serving time in a New York prison, but he will be transferred to the custody of prison authorities in California, where he was also convicted on a rape and sexual assault charges and sentenced there. A spokesperson for Weinstein tells ABC News, "We are happily surprised and we are studying the ruling."
Now, what do you think about that? Do you think these judges have anything better to do? That this guy is obviously guilty. I'm just saying, obviously guilty. Women were violated. Tears were shed. Therapists have made extra money because so many women he devastated. And he's being allowed to get some kind of gratis. And but one of the most outspoken is Ashley Judd, whom she leans very left. I don't think her and I would probably agree on much, but we do agree Harvey Weinstein does not deserve to get out of jail. And this is Ashley Judd. See what you think.
Was overturned the conviction, and now we're hearing from some of the alleged victims. This is Ashley Judd speaking. Let's listen in.
There I am, planning to get my backcountry camping site reservations in Yellowstone National Park, for which I'm very excited. And I get the news from Jodi Kantor of the New York Times that 4 judges at New York's court have voted to overturn Harvey Weinstein's sexual crimes conviction. This is what it's like to be a woman in America, living with male entitlement to our bodies.
Now see, that's what's sad. We just, all the guys, thanks to Harvey Weinstein and some other creepos, we all get thrown into this batch of hatred. Did you catch, let's catch what's the last thing, because she's very much a feminist. And I'm very curious to see what her stand is on this new Title IX. You know, trying to let dudes pretend to be chicks.
Male entitlement to our bodies. Be a woman in America. This is what it's like to be a woman in America. This is what it's like to be a woman in America. This is what it's like to be a woman in America, living with male entitlement to our bodies. Now,
she believes that they still live with male entitlement to their bodies. Now, I think she's a little extreme here, but let's go on. She is a victim, so let's give the victim a moment.
For those of you who don't know, when I was an up-and-coming actor in Hollywood in the 1990s, I'd been up all night filming on the movie Kiss the Girls, and I had a breakfast appointment with Harvey Weinstein at the Peninsula Hotel. He, of course, was the mega producer, co-founder of Miramax Studios, who was an extraordinary gatekeeper. His movies won Oscars, they were box office successes, and he was a real tastemaker. And so this appointment was a really huge opportunity for my burgeoning career. And when I showed up at the Peninsula Hotel at which I often stayed with my family, and I knew both the concierge, we went to acting school together, and the desk staff, I said, "Is Mr. Weinstein in the Belvedere, the restaurant, or is he on the patio?" And they said, "Oh no, he's in his room." I was so naive. I thought, room service is going to take a really long time and I'm hungry. So they sent me, complicitous, the ecosystem. Not all men are violent, but most men are silent about other men's violence, up to his room, where Harvey, wearing his hotel robe, immediately began asking if he could give me a massage, and this progressed into him insisting that I watch him take a shower, and other acts of sexual harassment and aggression. I was lucky I got out of that hotel room. And my dad was with me that day. He was waiting for me in the hotel lobby. And he still says that when I came down, he could tell something devastating had just happened. I told anyone who would listen. The director on Kiss the Girls, Gary Fleeter, the screenplay writer who said there was no Attorney General of Hollywood done to whom to report this incident. But finally, of course, Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey of the New York Times came to me through Nicholas Kristof, and I went on the record telling that story, because when survivors tell their stories, they are exercising a powerful form of leadership.
And that I will agree with. Now, she's been a victim of sexual assault, and Harvey Weinstein may have. She may not have been this hard on men early in her career. She is now, but I can see some reasons why. But my point being, what's going to happen to Harvey Weinstein? This guy. Is there a possibility there are judges that are going to use loopholes and legalities to get this guy off? Here's a news source that has a lawyer that tells you what we can possibly expect in the days to come.
Analyst Kali Feroz joins us now to explain what could happen next. And before we get to what could happen next, let's start here. That critical mistake, it has to do with the witnesses that the prosecution was allowed to call. Can you explain why this case is where it is now?
Two things could be true at the same time with legal processes. First, that Harvey Weinstein was someone that kick-started the Me Too movement. 100 plus alleged victims have come forth after him. He's been convicted in New York. This one now being overturned in California for the rape case. And so those things are true. But also through the process, the legal process has rules. And if you call witnesses that aren't supposed to be there, that aren't listed in your indictment, if you go outside of the steps of the boundaries that are supposed to be there, that's what the appeals process is for. His attorneys thought that they were going to appeal in the very beginning. They said that. This appeal has taken a number of years, and now it's finally here. It may come as a shock, but this was something that was anticipated at the time that it happened. It just takes a long time. The wheels of justice move really slow. The wheels within the court system move even slower.
So this guy gives his opinion, and et cetera, et cetera. Let's jump here a little bit further down.
Going on anywhere, he'll sit in prison in California or in a federal prison, even if we don't retry him, or we can decide to retry him. Well, who makes that decision to retry him? The guy that's at the crosshairs with Donald Trump right now, and that's Alvin Bragg. He'll make that decision to become the person who can either decide to say, you know what, this Harvey Weinstein case is over, or we'll retry it again, because the facts will still be there. It's just the manner in which they prosecuted the case.
So bottom line is this: if you heard him, it's in the hands of if you want to call it, Alvin Bragg. Now, Alvin Bragg is in the process of prosecuting Donald Trump. He's having a tough time with public opinion. Could it be that the New York logistic gathering said, hey, let's bring up a ghost from the past, Harvey Weinstein, get him in the news, and see if he doesn't bleed over and start getting people to think, old creep, sexual pervert. Hey, Donald Trump, that's right. That Caroline, that girl that he had to give her some money. He's got a porn star hush case. Maybe they can get a little bit of Harvey Weinstein's dirt to sling over on Trump, because timing is everything. And I've told you this before. I don't think it's by accident or by a coinky-dinks. These judges are saying, oh, we let Harvey Weinstein get treated so badly. Oh, no, my friends. Be smart. Be smart. This is part of a plan. I have no doubt. They're trying to monkey with the minds of the people, and you've got to be smart about this. When they want you looking over here, be purposeful to look over here. Don't fall for all their minutia. When they start giving you all these things that you're going, wait a minute, that doesn't add up, then get you out a calculator and see what it really adds up to. Harvey Weinstein had over 100 women come forward, and during the Me Too movement, my friend, was trying to get Donald Trump The whole movement was to entrap Donald Trump, but it failed. It backfired because all the women came forward. They weren't coming forward on Trump. They were coming forward on these other guys. And they started going down. Weinstein, Epstein, Bill Cosby. Look at all the sexual perversion that went on. And the Wiener laptop. All the things were going on in New York. New York is a cesspool of sexual perversion. It was happening before Donald Trump got president. And during his presidency, look at all the sexual perverts that went down. Under Donald Trump's leadership, you saw Epstein finally go down. Harvey Weinstein go down. You saw the guy that was over the sex cult, Keith Lanier, go down. Allison Mack, go down. The procurer for Jeffrey Epstein, Maxwell, she went down. Look at all the sexual perverts, and they were mainly their residency was in New York. And I brought this up again. Why in the world would Hillary Clinton, her husband was a successful governor, supposed to be in Arkansas. Why did she want to relocate to New York to be a senator in New York? And it just so happens the guy that was leading in the polls in '99 was John F. Kennedy Jr., and he had a little accident in an airplane. Because the poll, she couldn't beat him. Well, she becomes the senator of New York. Go check out her code name. When your husband is the president, you also get Secret Service protection, and you get to pick your code name. Her code name is Evergreen. Who owns the largest, one of the largest, if not the largest, transport and shipping companies in the world that's been accused and alleged to have child sex trafficking in those carriers? Evergreen Shipping Company. Who owns Evergreen Shipping Company? The Clinton Foundation. Macil, you're being a conspiracy theorist. Oh, am I? You remember down in Haiti when they were raising all that money and they said, let's go help Haiti. And we find out later that there was a lady pretending to be a missionary, a Baptist missionary, that was arrested for trying to smuggle children out of the country. And she was a convicted child molester, sex slave. And Bill Clinton went down and got her out of jail, brought her to America, got her a job. You know what her job was? Please try to prove me wrong. She went to work for the U.S. government and Amber Alert system, missing children. This is Macil Duncan. If you'd like to help us feed the hungry, you can go online today at www.appisonbaptist.com. That's appisonbaptist.com and help us feed the hungry. We're feeding right at 3,000 people or more a month, one time. We do that by giving out food at our food pantry, but also going downtown to the tent cities and a lot of veterans and homeless people. So again, help us feed the hungry at www.appisonbaptist.com.
Attention business owners. Have you already filed for your employer retention credit with the IRS? As reported in a major financial paper, the IRS will be slowing down ERC checks. You could now be waiting several months to a year plus to get your ERC money. We can help you get it within 10 days. As long as you've already filed for your ERC with the IRS, we can advance you the money. Finance ERC has already funded millions of dollars in ERC money. You don't need to wait to get your money. We can get it to you within 10 days. Again, if you've already filed your employer retention credit, we can help you get the money in your bank account within 10 days from today. But you need to call right now while time is on your side. Here's our number. Not available in all states.
800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. That's 800-570-7651.
Life insurance is one of those those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. That's 800-932-3721.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. That's 800-803-3771.
Welcome back, my friend. This is Macil Duncan, and welcome to the Macil Duncan Show. We've now been on the air a little over 3 years, and we formerly with the Nuga network. That is no more. Then we joined up with a larger network, USA Heartbeat Radio, and then Street Level America, and now we're coast to coast pretty much. We're in 30-plus states, Mexico, Canada. 26 countries have downloaded the show or have watched it and sent comment. And we're growing each and every day. And we've got a new organization that will be carrying the show. And I'll just, it's Destiny Media. You'll hear more about that in the future. But those stations will be carrying the Macil Duncan Show as well. And SGM down in Alabama, we appreciate our Alabama affiliate that carries the show. And the Freedom Network up in New Jersey. So all those that carry the Macil Duncan Show, and I appreciate all that like and share it on your social media. Don't forget, we are on Rumble. We are on X, locals.com, of course, Facebook, True Social, and I think they've started me a YouTube channel. I don't know. The engineer with Street Level America and Heartbeat USA, he's quite amazing, and I appreciate him and all he's done. This nice studio he set up here in my office so I don't have to travel and go as far. I can spend more time here. So I appreciate that. Well, I don't know if you've heard, but there's some people claiming that they're not happy with the Democratic Party. And it's nothing, I don't think, that's super new. But this one group I was rather shocked with. It's you may have heard it. It's Blacks for Trump. And this is one of their songs. And I just thought I'm just going to play about 30 seconds of it. But these are black rappers that are not happy with the Democratic Party.
Donald Trump, yeah, that's my president. For real. Black MAGA, 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 black MAGA. Donald Trump, yeah, that's my president. Donald Trump, the first black president. Ever seen a black patriot? Yeah, we exist. The Democrats use my color just to stay rich. Indict my president, you might as well indict me too. Call me your Uncle Tom, but really what Obama do? Not a damn thing, Trump was just that Chick-fil-A. Taking flicks with my people, he really showing face. Hey, Joe Biden, yeah, I really wanna taste some. Poor kids is just as talented as white kids in this country. 3.6 million black kids in poverty. But these liberals putting illegal immigrants right in front of me.
Did you hear that last part? These Democrats put illegal immigrants right in front of me. The black community is not happy with the Democratic Party, and we're finding that out more and more. There are people that are just they're biding their time. But here is rather shocking that's just been taking place here. I'll just play this one for you, see what you think.
Guess what? Bidenomics is working. Now, how was it operating your restaurant during the Trump years?
During the Trump years, I pretty much started my business around that time.
Mm-hmm.
I would say things were substantially different, meaning
Really?
I was working as well, but I was able to afford things. I wasn't worried about my future as I am now.
And this was a lady of color that had has a business, and basically went on to say that working in the Bidenomics era is about to break her. But this clip you hear, this is one that I did not see coming. People in New York shouting USA for Donald Trump like they did the other day, but this is a Democratic Union that just flipped Trump. How it started. Biden jabs at Trump while accepting another union endorsement because 2024 we're going to make Donald Trump a loser, Biden said. Meanwhile, Donald Trump meets with a construction workers union.
In the past, we are basically Democrats, all of us, and after what's happened the last 4 years in this country, Democrats are basically pushing everybody to the other side.
USA! 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 USA!
We're a very patriotic group, and we love our country, and we want the best for America. We are tired of immigration. We're tired of our tax dollars going to immigration. We're tired of the crime. We need to put a handle on things in this country and bring it back to how it should be.
What's it like seeing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan? Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. It's turning now. Trump's turn again.
What's your message to Joe Biden?
F you.
I'm going to say that better myself.
Well, the construction company was pretty to the point. So I just thought I'd tell you that what is happening, and I don't think a lot of folks realize it or expected it, but you're having a move of the culture. Right now, Donald Trump's gaining in ethnicity with the blacks, especially black males. He's gaining with Hispanics. He's gaining with Asians and Arab Americans that normally did not like Trump. They voted almost 80% with Biden last election in 2020. And right now, Trump has gained into 46 to 47% of the Arab American. That right there is going to end the election. You know, with that kind of gain, with that kind of situation. But I don't know what you guys think, but I think there's a lot going on in our country they don't want us to know about, because if we knew what's going on, then we'd have to start having these discussions, and that's uncomfortable for them. They don't want us to talk about issues. They want us to hate each other, and I think that's the thing we're going to find out more and more. But let's move on. I found this very interesting. Red heifers supposedly secretly sacrificed in Jerusalem a couple of days ago. This week, they're saying that the red heifer sacrifice, now this is the 700 Club. They're usually pretty reliable. So CBN News, I thought you might want to hear this and see what you think, because a lot of you have been asking me the eclipse prophecies, people saying, hey, with the eclipse of 2017, crossing the point of 2008, this one of 2024, one was about Jonah and Nineveh, and the other was about Salem and peace, and they're crossing here in the country the paths of the former eclipses, and then you have just a lot of signs, and people are getting nervous because I think bottom line is this: if you're not living for Christ, you're going to be nervous, because you think, hey, if Jesus comes back today, what am I going to do? If you've got a relationship with Christ, my friend, you should not have any worries. You should sleep like a baby, because those of us that know Christ and He's the Lord of our life, we don't worry about news. We don't worry about, we get involved. We want to stay informed, but we don't let it rock our world. But when you have no peace beyond this world, if all you've got is this world, then I can see why you're so more wigged out than me. But anyway, the red heifers, what is it? This is biblical. This guy kind of gives a great analogy, especially for folks that maybe haven't read their Bible in a while.
9 Jewish priests, plot of land on the Mount of Olives, and 5 red heifers. All these elements are in place for what some Jews and Gentiles believe is the key to building the 3rd Jewish temple.
We need the Messiah to come, right? So for me, the red heifer, it's red for the blood of Jesus Christ.
The ceremony needs to be performed right here on the Mount of Olives, looking directly into where the temple once stood.
The whole thing is going to go is to build a temple.
The Bible is a way of God to lead us.
What if I told you that the world's end was linked to some red cows in the Middle East? At first, it might seem a bit far-fetched, but it's actually not. The arrival of the red heifers is prophesied in Christianity, Judaism, and even Islam. In all these religious prophecies, the red heifer is very important, and its arrival impacts not just the region, but potentially the entire world. Let's see why. There's news from Israel indicating that red heifers, which are important for the Third Temple, have been sacrificed in Israel. This is seen by many as a sign that the construction of the Third Temple may begin very soon. A red heifer is critical for the rituals of the Third Temple according to the Old Testament. Specifically, in Numbers 19, the Israelites needed the ashes of a red heifer for purification rituals at the temple. Today, the emergence of a red heifer is viewed by many as an indication that the building of the Third Temple and the return of Christ are approaching. According to rabbinical tradition, 9 red heifers have been sacrificed since Moses' time, but none since the destruction of the Second Temple.
So as you see, that's where everyone is getting a little excited and ignited. There's not been a red heifer sacrifice since the Second Temple was destroyed. Back as the Israelites pretty much folded and lost their land back until that was restored to them after World War II. So what's going on here is you're starting to see a lot of people paying attention more to the Bible, digging deep. But according to CBN News, they're saying that 5 red heifers were sacrificed by 9 priests, and that's the beginning, supposedly, of the rebuild of the Temple Mount. Now, what makes Muslims upset is because they don't want to see their mosque. See, they believe they own the mountain. Jews said, "Oh no, that we did. That's where our temple was." Now, if you go to Revelation and study anything about the Antichrist, he's still going to bring this false peace, and there's going to be a compromise. The way things are going, it wouldn't be too far-fetched that there could be an Antichrist that brings global peace, because there's concern with the economics right now. There's concern with territories and wars. And there's also concern with religion. I'll be back. This is Macil Duncan. My new book, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Lifeway Books, Thrifty, wherever you get your online material. Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome. Don't forget, my radio show is every day, 3 to 6 p.m. on the Street Level America and U.S. Radio Today Heartbeat. We're in 32 states and multiple countries, and thanks so much. Move Your Mountains by Macil Duncan.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. 800.
The world. This is one of the few. The red heifer prophecy.
You can go online today at www.appletonbaptist.com. That's appletonbaptist.com, and help us feed the hungry. We're feeding right at 3,000 people or more a month, one time. We do that by giving out food at our food pantry, but also going downtown to the tent cities and a lot of veterans and homeless people. So again, help us feed the hungry at www.appletonbaptist.com.
Attention business owners. Have you already filed for your employer retention credit with the IRS? As reported in a major financial paper, the IRS will be slowing down ERC checks. You could now be waiting several months to a year plus to get your ERC money. We can help you get it within 10 days. As long as you've already filed for your ERC with the IRS, we can advance you the money. Finance ERC has already funded millions of dollars in ERC money. You don't need to wait to get your money. We can get it to you within 10 days. Again, if you've already filed your employer retention credit, we can help you get the money in your bank account within 10 days from today. But you need to call right now while time is on your side. Here's our number. Not available in all states.
800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. That's 800-570-7651.
Thank you all. And of course, I want to especially welcome Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Your presence here today is a testament to the importance of this occasion, not only for the Trump administration, but in a very personal way, for you. For you, each of you, for the pursuit of peace, and for President Trump himself. Thank you. Dear friends, what a glorious day. Remember this moment. This is history. President Trump, by recognizing history, you have made history. So for me, this spot brings back personal memories, but for our people, it evokes profound collective memories of the greatest moments we have known on this city on a hill. In Jerusalem, Abram passed the greatest test of faith and the right to be the father of our nation. In Jerusalem, King David established our capital 3,000 years ago. In Jerusalem, King Solomon built our temple, which stood for many centuries. In Jerusalem, Jewish exiles from Babylon rebuilt the temple, which stood for many more centuries. In Jerusalem, the Maccabees rededicated that temple, and restored Jewish sovereignty in this land. And it was here in Jerusalem, some 2,000 years later, that the soldiers of Israel spoke three immortal words: Hal Habayit Be'adenu. The Temple Mount is in our hands. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Words that lifted the spirit of the entire nation. We are in Jerusalem and we are here to stay.
Now, that was 5 years ago when Netanyahu was speaking, and he gave a lot of praise to Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Now, Jared Kushner, that's who Ivanka Trump married. Her last name actually, she still goes by Ivanka Trump for her popularity reasons, but she's really a Kushner. He is a Jewish background. Now, if you remember anything about the Trump administration, Jared Kushner and Steve Bannon didn't get along, to a point where he talked Trump into getting Steve Bannon out of his inner circle, which was a huge mistake. If you watch The War Room, that's Steve Bannon. If you remember, Trump even nicknamed him Sloppy Steve, kind of made fun of him. Steve Bannon was a big man about it. He left. but still had all this knowledge because he understands DC and the minutia and how to maneuver through it. It was probably Trump's biggest mistake of his presidency because Steve Bannon was a great ally and still is today. Jared Kushner, his own son-in-law, not so much. But the one thing that he talked Trump into doing was moving or supporting moving our embassy to the capital of Jerusalem. And if you heard in that speech, he mentioned the Temple Mount. Now, that's the big issue between the Muslims and the Jews, because whoever has their temple on the Temple Mount believes that's the highest, it's a holy place, that's where they want to do their sacrifices, their religious celebrations. And what's going to happen, it's very clear in Revelation, the temple will be rebuilt. To rebuild the temple, though, there has to be the sacrifices of the red heifer. Now, I mentioned that to you I found another clip for you here. See if this helps clarify a little bit more what's going on. And are we near Armageddon? Are we near end times? Very good question.
The red heifer prophecy is one that is being closely watched by Jews, Christians, and Muslims all over the world. This is one of the few prophecies that impact all three of what is called the Abrahamic religions, meaning the religions that all believe Abraham to be a prophet and progenitor of their religion. To put this into perspective, 25% of the world is Muslim, 31.6% is Christian, and 0.2% is Jewish, meaning that this prophecy impacts more than half of the world's population in a very real way.
I don't know if you caught that. 25% right now the world religions would just basically considered Muslim. 31.6 are considered Christian. And the rest is other, and only 2% right now would be declared Jewish. The Jews have always been outnumbered. Go check out Gideon and Gideon's army. But they've always been known as God's chosen people. Anyone that messes with them loses every time. Pretty much. I mean, and outside, unless when God allowed, and he let prophets tell them, hey, you're about to go down because of your sin and your degradation. But when they're living right and living holy, they're God's chosen people. So let's just remind you again of this percentage.
31.6% is Christian and 0.2% is Jewish, meaning that this prophecy impacts more than half of the world's population in a very real way. Why? In short, it is believed that when the red heifer is sacrificed, it will usher in the last days and is one of the critical requirements prior to Christ's second coming. But for each religion, it means something different. But before we get into that, let's do a brief history about the red heifer and the prophecy. This prophecy ties to the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, commonly referred to as the Third Temple, as first there was the Temple of Solomon, which was destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BC. The second temple was built by Herod, which existed at the time of Christ, and was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. Since that time, no temple has been built in Jerusalem, and Jews have been waiting for the opportunity to build the third temple as they believe it is a precursor to the coming of the Messiah.
Now, if you don't know anything about the temple is in the very center, there's a very holy place called the Holy of Holies. Now, when Christ was crucified, the Holy of Holies was ripped top to bottom, and that's a very huge piece of material, and you go read about it. That was like a miracle. But inside the Holy of Holies, only one priest could go one time a year. He had to do his best to be without sin, sacrifice, etc. They tied a rope around his ankle just in case he entered the presence of God that one time a year in sin without repenting from it, because if he did, he fell dead. And no one else was allowed to go in, or you would fall dead. So they pulled him out by the ankle, and they would pull him out. So that is how strict they believe in this temple, that there will be a Holy of Holies again. And then there's a courtyard of the priest around that only priests can enter. There's a wall. And then outside that, there's a wall for the men. Only the Jewish men can then come in that other courtyard. Well, then another wall. And then outside of that is the courtyard for women, the Jewish women. And then outside of that is a wall, and then the court of the Gentiles. You and I, we could only get in that first corridor. We couldn't go all the way through. Only the Gentiles, then the Jewish women, then the Jewish men, then the priest, and then the high priest goes in the Holy Holy one time a year. That's a quick synopsis. Check it out yourself. The reason I tell you all that is when they rebuild this temple, the Antichrist is going to talk them into allowing him to be within the Holy of Holies. And the reason it's going to come across as a miracle or as something amazing is because Christ had already released the Holy Spirit. God will not live in the Holy of Holies like he did because of what Christ did at Calvary. But it will allow the Antichrist to fool the people. Savvy? Check it out. You can learn more about it. But I just thought I would bring all this to your attention. Getting a lot of questions about it. And let's see how we're doing on time. There's a lot of people that think Donald Trump is a racist. And I don't know if you've heard this. John Legend even said
Let's just do the impeachment.
He's made it clear throughout his life that he believes black people are inferior. Like he believes that to his core, in his bones. He wouldn't let us live in his buildings back in the day. But also, when you hear some of the stray comments he makes, he clearly believes in a genetic hierarchy of.
Now, this is John Legend calling Trump a racist, and none of this is true. He's never not allowed black people to live in his buildings and stuff. And at one of his rallies, this was Donald Trump responding to the Blacks for Trump signs that were in his rally.
I love those pink signs. Women for Trump. I love the signs behind me. Blacks for Trump. I like those signs.
And he acknowledged he's the blacks for Trumps because, he likes them. Now, this is his own, one of his rivals when he ran for Ben Carson, who later served as HUD secretary for him. And this is what he said when he was asked, is Donald Trump racist?
Look, you're an African-American successful business person. You're the secretary of HUD. You work for President Trump. Is he racist?
He is not racist at all. The first time I met him, it was before we got into politics, was down at Mar-a-Lago. And he and I were talking, and someone came up to him and said, Mr. Trump, Rod Stewart is here. And he said, yeah, but this is Ben Carson. That's the kind of person he is.
So you got people of color that said, no, he's not racist, never been racist to me. And they defend him and say that, hey, they believe he is a genuine man. But there's those that want to spread those hate rumors. But here's Herschel Walker.
Ball player. But I'm also a father, a man of faith, and a very good judge of character. I've known Donald Trump for 37 years, and I don't mean just casual ran into him from time to time. I'm talking about a deep personal friendship. I watched him as an owner of a professional football team. Right after he bought the team, he set out to learn. He learned about the history of the team, the players, the coaches, every detail.
Herschel Walker.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-708-3092. 800-708-3092. That's 800-708-3092.
This is Macil Duncan. My new book, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Lifeway Books, Thrifty, wherever you get your online material. Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome. Don't forget my radio show is every day, 3 to 6 p.m. on the Street Level America and U.S. Radio Today Heartbeat. We're in 32 states and multiple countries, and thanks so much. Move Your Mountains by Macil Duncan.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. That's 800-957-6062. Paid for by Term Direct.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. That's 800-803-3771.
Don't expect convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein to get any sympathy from his 3 adult daughters from his first marriage. Word is they have cut all ties with their father.
We're learning new details about Harvey Weinstein's first days of incarceration from his publicist, Judah Engelmeyer. He spoke to the 67-year-old movie mogul who is being held in a high-security wing at Bellevue Hospital in New York.
He's currently in a prison cell that's set up like a hospital room.
And if you haven't heard, New York judges have decided that Harvey Weinstein's rights were violated. And even though all these folks brought very credible things, there were a few witnesses that supposedly weren't supposed to testify, therefore maybe discouraging or delusioning the jury. And there are a set of female judges that are dropping charges on Harvey Weinstein. Interesting timing. Just when Donald Trump is in the middle of legal battles in New York, it's like they want to get Harvey Weinstein and Donald Trump in the same conversation. Wait for it, my friends. Just wait for it. They're going to start trying to say Donald Trump is a sexual predator because the whole Me Too movement was meant to bring Trump down. And it backfired and got Harvey Weinstein. Well, now they're going to try a Me Too movement too. You wait and see, because nothing has stuck to Trump. His polls are climbing, and the problem is a lot of Democrats have said they're leaving. Daily Wire has kissed my, and I won't say the word, 70s rock star says no more. She's had it with the Democrat lies, and she says no more lies. Now this is someone that may shock you, may not, but runaway singer Sherry Curry has had enough of the lies and more lies coming out of the Democratic Party, and she said it's no longer punk to vote for them. Curry, who rose to fame as part of the all-girls answer to Grand Funk Railroad, shared the spotlight with iconic punk guitarist Joan Jett, Lita Ford, and she said in a post on X on Wednesday that the Democratic Party has lost its rock and roll creed. So she is said she's out, no longer voting Democrat, and she went on to say this: "It used to be punk R&R to vote Democrat. I fell for it," the Curry said. "But when your party demands you live in fear, squalor, sick, beyond your means, by buying groceries, gasoline, disrespecting our veterans, our police, our elderly, supporting criminals, chaos, riots, Hamas, failing Israel, demeaning us at every turn, hurting our children, wasting our money." This lady's been a lifelong Democrat. Now, she sounds pretty patriotic to me. That's why you got to be careful. Not all Democrats are bad. It's just that upper crust leadership that's pretty much breathed the breath of Satan and hell-bent. But ineptitude with every policy, lies and more lies, no more. She continued, the Democratic Party can kiss my, and they don't give a. That's true. Voting Dem used to be cool, but now it just makes you a fool. Well, I pass her salute to you, dear lady, and I couldn't say it any better. Now, the interesting thing about the Democrats, they hate to tell you this, but this is a very famous day for the Democrats. It was actually today. Are you ready? What did the Democrats do today, many years ago? They founded an organization. They surely did. This organization was meant after the Civil War to keep a certain group of people in line. You know the name of the organization that was founded today, many years ago, by your Democratic Party? They were known for wearing white sheets on their head and burning crosses in the yard. Anybody know who I'm talking about? Today, in historic memory, Democrats gathered to hold their first KKK National Convention in Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, any of my listeners in Nashville, did you know that? You guys were the first meeting for the KKK by the Democratic Party, sheets and all. How about that? Well, this is a true fact. You can go check it on the Gateway Pundit. When the Civil War ended and after Republican President Abraham Lincoln liberated the slaves, Emancipation Proclamation, Democrats initiated Jim Crow laws to punish blacks. Now, did you know the Republican Party was birthed to free slaves? Check it out. Abraham Lincoln was their very first candidate. The Republicans were birthed to free slaves. Check, please, Mr. and Ms. Liberal out there, please get on. Please try to prove me wrong. I love when you do that. I love when you do that. And then you send me this little defeated little, well, I didn't know that. It's because you let people tell you what to think. So the Republican Party is the anti-slave, believe it or not, and it's your Democratic Party that was mad. Did you know it's the Democratic Party that kept Lincoln off their ballots in 7 slave states? Back in 1860, they wouldn't let Abraham Lincoln be on the ballot. They did not want him to win the presidency because they knew if he won the presidency, more than likely, he would be such a liberator of slaves, it would be a death knell for their war cry. Because all this time, you know, the Civil War just didn't happen, shabam. It was building. And they are threatening to leave the Union. And the southern states kept saying, well, you keep on. We're going to leave the Union. You won't have our taxes, blah, blah, blah. Well, Abraham called their bluff. He said, okay, you leave the Union, we will come crush you, take all your guns and your wealth, and then you'll have to rebuild, and you will definitely stay in the United States. That's just kind of a summation of what happened. Well, Democrats continued for decades to discriminate against blacks. In fact, the KKK was founded as the terrorist wing of the Democratic Party. The Ku Klux Klan assassinated hundreds of Republicans and their supporters, including Republican Representative James M. Hines, December 5th, 1833, of Little Rock. Hines represented Arkansas in the United States Congress, and on June 24th, 1868 through 1868, before his death. And the Democrat KKK assassinated him because he stood for freeing the slaves. On September 28, 1868, a mob of Democrats massacred nearly 300 African-American Republicans in Louisiana. The savagery began when racist Democrats attacked a newspaper editor, a white Republican, and school teacher for ex-slaves. Several African Americans rushed to the assistance of their friend, and in response, the Democrats went on what they called a Negro hunt. That was their words, not mine. Killing every African American, all of whom were Republicans, in the area that they could find. Over 300 were martyred in about a 24-hour period. That's your Democrats. That's their history. They can't get away from it. They won't embrace it, but that's it is. The Democrats and hoods slaughtered hundreds of Republicans. On April 20th, 1871, Republicans passed the Anti-Ku Klux Klan Act, outlawing the Democratic terrorist groups. The last KKK official to serve in Washington, D.C. was Senator Robert Byrd, a KKK superstar. And guess who was at his funeral and spoke? Hillary Clinton and Joe the Biden. They said he was a man of vision. So as you go and look at some of this stuff, I think you'll be amazed at the history lesson that they don't put in the history books anymore. If you are a person of color, I don't say this with joy, but I'm telling you the facts. If you go look, it was the Democratic Party that started the Planned Parenthood and the KKK. Go look at Margaret Sanger and the reason she started Planned Parenthood. It was to extinguish the Negro race. That's a fact, Jack. KKK was started because once the slaves were freed, they were afraid they would start mixed populating and etc. So they wanted especially male Negroes to be taken care of. Very, very interesting. It's a fact, Jack, that you can't run away from. They try. And what's funny is how they try to call Donald Trump or Republicans racist. And you want to look back and say, are you freaking kidding me? But what is racism in this country, and does it have a history? Well, PragerU does a great job. Listen to some fact jacks about the racism and how it started and some of these crazy institutions.
When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s. In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans.
That little bit, that minute and 28, was that some fact jacks that you didn't know? You can go to Inconvenient Truth About the Democratic Party. It's a 5-minute video by Prager University. Again, Prager University on YouTube, The Inconvenient Truth About the Democratic Party. It's a 5-minute video by Prager University. Now, as you look at that fact jacks, you see, for instance, that the Supreme Court one time said that black people are not, they're not human, basically, enough to be free. But it was a stacked Democratic Supreme Court. The 2 Republicans voted against that. Well, right now, is it not amazing that the Supreme Court is stacked more with conservatives, if you want to call Republican? Abortion was overturned, Roe versus Wade. The other things I think they're afraid of, that's why you hear talks of stacking the Supreme Court. The Republicans and Democrats, their core values, at least at one time, were very opposite. The problem we're having now is at the very top, there's a rhino, like a uniparty. Your Mitch McConnells, your Nancy Pelosi's, formerly Dianne Feinstein, your Grahams. These guys that have been around, they're fossils. They've been there forever. They have become a uniparty. Now, it's kind of like live wrestling. You know, they fight when the cameras are on. When the cameras are off, they go get drinks, smoke cigars, and laugh at us because they think we're stupid enough to believe that they really care about our needs. I think we can tell over the last 15 to 20 years especially Congress and them up there, for the most part, pretty much do deals that are pretty much reflective on their own interest above ours. That's why you have so many of them having dual citizenship. Do a little search. How many congressmen and senators have dual citizenship? Why would you want to be a citizen of another country if this is the greatest country in the world? Oh, that helps with your money laundering and your little kickbacks. Because, see, if it's in your other citizenship in a bank of another country, IRS can't touch it. And you and I are not the wiser. Savvy? See, these are things that they don't tell you because it would upset you. I don't tell you this to upset you. I tell it to inform you. The only thing that's going to help this country is a genuine revival. That's just my opinion. But how do you have that? Getting Christians to unite, it's like oil and water sometimes because we get so divided on issues of music, on issues of dress code, issues that really, if it got down to being a nuclear war and we were all out there surviving, needing to pray, I think you could drop some of those issues. But we are at a situation where I think the Christian church, we're in a situation more than ever to really drop the pettiness and petulance and say we need to pray, we need to work together, we need to roll up our sleeves. Don't worry about who gets the credit. Don't worry who gets their name at the top billing. You know, I know some pastors, they won't come to an event unless they're on the program. I used to plan big events as part of my ministry. And I couldn't get some of these big shots there unless I put them on the program. And you put them on the program, so bring some of their people who put butts in the seats. Let's just be honest. If you've ever planned an event, you know what I'm talking about. But after a while, I got tired of that. I'm going, why in the world do you have to, you know, if I'd rather have a smaller crowd with genuine reasons and genuine hearts for it than to try to draw a big crowd just for the sake of numbers. Because I just don't think I don't think God's honored with that. I don't think he's impressed. Anyway, shocking poll. Nearly half of Democrats would support Trump's plan for mass deportation. I thought this was an interesting one. And again, it's in the Gateway Pundit if you want to check it out. But this is very much indicative. Nearly half of Democrats would support Donald Trump's plan for mass deporting during his second presidential term, according to a new polling data. The poll conducted at Axios in partnership with the Harris poll found 51% of American public would support the plan, including 42% Democrat and, of course, 68% Republican and 46% of independents. That's a big part of all three groups. So I think there's something that's going to happen. Now, a lot of folks are concerned because they feel that Biden's working on a new amnesty track that's going to allow people to become citizens before the election and allow them to vote and keep maybe Biden in power, if you will. And let me see if I can find that one. But if that happens, it happens. The bottom line is everyone needs to vote. You can't let things scare you away that bad, and I think that's what's going to happen. But New York workers chant USA, USA, and they weren't just any New York workers. They were a union of Democrats that have always voted Democrat.
Basically Democrats, all of us, and after what's happened the last 4 years in this country, Democrats are basically pushing everybody to the other side.
USA! USA! USA!
We're a very patriotic group, and we love our country, and we want the best for America. We are tired of immigration. We're tired of our tax dollars going to immigration. We're tired of the crime. We need to put a handle on things in this country and bring it back to how it should be.
What's it like seeing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan? Does that surprise you?
No, not at all.
It's turning.
And he has some choice words for Biden. I'm not going to play that because that's a little bit risque for my audience. But this, again, this is a group called Blacks for Trump, and they have a song dedicated to Donald Trump.
Never seen a black patriot, yeah, we exist. The Democrats use my color just to stay rich. Indict my president, you might as well indict me too. Call me an Uncle Tom, but really what Obama do? Not a damn thing, Trump was just that Chick-fil-A. Taking flicks with my people, he really showing face. Hey, Joe Biden
liberal politics are putting illegal immigrants right in front of me. I don't know if you can understand the lyrics, but that's what's going on. And so a lot of people are saying, Macil, how did we get here? Well, this guy is on MSNBC, and he pretty much tells a truth bomb on how we got to where we are and why we're at where we are. And let me get to this part here. And anyway, check this out and see if you don't agree. It's pretty much a plan. He believes it was planned through education and the courts over a period of time.
For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people aren't having sex. They're not meeting. They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men shrinks every day, which lessens household formation. So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut, every movement into an opportunistic infection because, quite frankly, they are just pissed off. They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree see their degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic once we own the housing. Housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person, a house, stocks that I don't own skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, it would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious and more depressed and more obese and more addicted, and we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
How about that? As they would say in some, that'll preach. This guy was on MSNBC, and the host, if you could see his face, he was just completely... you just tell he didn't cut in, he didn't butt in, he just was speechless because it was truth. When you're finally starting to hear all these truth bombs in the mainstream media, it makes you wonder, there's got to be something that's going on, because they're finally realizing, this isn't getting better. It's getting worse. And I think a lot of folks out there are concerned about this. Columbia University is getting called out by one of our leaders, and hear what he has to say. Well, I'm sorry, that Fox clip is not very good. But he's calling out what's going on at the Columbia University. He says what's going on at Columbia University is outrageous. And I've got to agree. If you can imagine, they've canceled school for the rest of the year, and they've pretty much surrendered to kids because they're having a temper tantrum. And the other thing they found out when they did a big arrest, over half of them weren't even students at Columbia. Hello. Now, some people have said the term invasion. Well, don't forget, my friends, the FBI director has just said, and I'll repeat for you what the FBI told us. He gave a warning. This is the sixth time, that he said we could be having a problem. This is Christopher Wray. This is the sixth time now he's given a warning. FBI Director Wray again warns of potential terror attacks in the United States. Not that different from the concert attack in Russia. Now, if this is the sixth time under the Biden regime, Christopher Wray, there's evidently probably been some false alarms, or there's been some squelching of some attempts. Savvy? But to have American students or kids that look like Americans chanting so the world can hear death to Israel and death to America it emboldens others around the globe that say, hey, because a lot of them see us as the great Satan. They think America is this demonic evil presence. And the way the CIA and some of the things we do, we monkey with other countries. Bad. We overthrow regimes. We've probably assassinated leaders. We've probably earned that title in some degree, sadly to say. But with that said, what's going on in these campuses? And my friend, again, let's not be naive. This is right before the election. Right before the elections, we've either had a BLM group, an Antifa group. Now it happens to be this Palestinian group. When you trace back, a lot of these have the same financial backing. Now, I've got one of my Georgia Bulldog reporter who sent me some information, and let me pull it up here. Well, daggone it. Don't you hate when your phone goes kapoo? Mine does that every now and then. Let me go back here to the name. Okay. Here it is. George Soros is giving $132,000 to the WESPAC Foundation. WESPAC Foundation, which is the group over students for justice in Palestine. He's also given $650,000 to JVP. The two groups are the main groups behind those protests that we're watching on TV. Okay, so when you know that George Soros has given $132,000 through one of the organizations and another $650,000 through another to support these protests, what's that tell you? George Soros isn't our friend. George Soros is the wicked uncle that everyone says, watch out, because he's a bad dude. Okay? Here you see the group's activity planning and taking over buildings. And if you look closely, all the tents across the country, even at different sites, they all match. They look alike. Well, I guess he went to a tent and awning and bought a sail. But if you ever look at the tent pictures in Columbia, the different universities, Yale, NYU, and all these others, they all look alike. Isn't that interesting? And you've seen the clips where these kids don't even know why they're protesting. They've gone up and interviewed some kids. If you're ever in the area and you don't fear for your life, don't go to a kid with the blowhorn or the whistles because they've been trained. Go find the kids standing around in the crowd. Why are you protesting? A lot of them like going, I don't know, free food? If you go to Craigslist, you can find for yourself, they pay $25 to $50 an hour for you to protest at a Donald Trump rally and things in the past. And many feel that they're paying these kids right now. They're crisis actors, possibly. And why else would you want the border so wide open for 3 years? Because there's probably some people getting in that need in, but there's probably others that are being indoctrinated to go be a part of some of these groups. And my friend, it's just getting started. You wait. I believe there'll be a lot of initiatives that's going to be very destructive. This is my opinion. This is Macil Duncan. If you'd like to help us feed the hungry, you can go online today at www.appisonbaptist.com. That's appisonbaptist.com and help us feed the hungry. We're feeding right at 3,000 people or more a month, one time. We do that by giving out food at our food pantry, but also going downtown to the tent cities and a lot of veterans and homeless people. So again, help us feed the hungry at www.appisonbaptist.com.
Attention business owners. Have you already filed for your employer retention credit with the IRS? As reported in a major financial paper, the IRS will be slowing down ERC checks. You could now be waiting several months to a year plus to get your ERC money. We can help you get it within 10 days. As long as you've already filed for your ERC with the IRS, we can advance you the money. Finance ERC has already funded millions of dollars in ERC money. You don't need to wait to get your money. we can get it to you within 10 days. Again, if you've already filed your employer retention credit, we can help you get the money in your bank account within 10 days from today. But you need to call right now while time is on your side. Here's our number. Not available in all states.
800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. That's 800-570-7651.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. That's 800-932-3721.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. That's 800-803-3771.
Curious, when you see that the polling showing the weakness that that Joe Biden has now among Democrats about something that that Joe Biden has, the polling showing the weakness that the polling showing the weakness the polling showing the weakness that the polling showing the weakness that that Joe Biden has now among Democrats about something that he literally can't change, which is his age. I mean, you know, you can shift policy, you can try and do something on the border, you can try and goose the economy. You cannot change your age.
In terms of President Biden's age, I think, you know, age is not really relevant. There are people who are 80 years old, 85, 90 years old, who are who have a very, very strong mental acuity and cognitive capacities. I think that the questions about President Biden right now, because of a number of public gaffes, and his unwillingness to have unscripted conversations or encounters with voters, to do a debate, to do actual interviews with people, and even when he does scripted ones, there's you know, it's scary for people to watch. And I think a lot of Americans are worried. You know, this is a job that requires complex thinking. It requires nuance. We all want somebody who can answer that phone at 3 o'clock in the morning and make a good judgment call at that point.
And, of course, that's a Kennedy campaign ad. R.F. Kennedy Jr. is rising in the Democratic influence. Many polls that were taken in the last 7 days have seen Biden's numbers go down. Trump's haven't gone up, really, but Biden's have gone down because most Democrats, and I shared with you a USA poll, the USA Today, 78% of registered Democrats that vote, 78% said they wish they had another candidate other than Biden 6 months ago. Okay, that's probably gotten worse. I believe what's happening is there'll be a protest vote. I think Donald Trump, without some kind of nefarious craziness, could pretty much win the election, especially if it was fair. But I could see Biden getting a shellacking he's never gotten, and Kennedy, there's a good chance Kennedy might beat Biden in the number 2 spot. I think Trump can win, but I could see Kennedy maybe out even doing Biden, the 81 million superstar, supposedly voter, that he got more votes than Obama. So I find that still hard to believe. I'm not going to lie. Well, this is Governor Ron DeSantis, and see what you think about what the governor said.
Florida rejects Joe Biden's attempt to rewrite Title IX. We will not comply, and we will fight back. We are not going to let Joe Biden try to inject men into women's activities. We are not going to let Joe Biden undermine the rights of parents, and we are not going to let Joe Biden abuse his constitutional authority to try to impose these policies on us here in Florida. We stand with opportunities. We are not going to let Biden get away with it. We will not comply.
Wow. So I think that's pretty powerful. We will not comply. So with that said, I don't know what you guys think, but my concern for most of Americans is when it comes to this Title IX. I've got 3 daughters that played sports. It's going to get to a point where either teams forfeit and don't play these teams that have guys on them, or you could literally see a guy throw elbows like we saw. You guys probably saw the game a few weeks back. He was intentionally thrusting his elbows around with the ball in his hand, hurting the girls, and they finally had to call the game. There's going to get a dad or a boyfriend. Someone's going to get triggered, is all I'm saying. This isn't looking good. You know they're doing this for nefarious reasons. This is not for liberty of transgenders. This is to cause trouble right before the election. I have no doubt about that. That's just me. Harvey Weinstein, as we've mentioned earlier, has been found not guilty or had his charges dropped by an appeals court of women judges that think he was treated unfairly by allowing some people to testify evidently that weren't actual, that was some out of order. They were victims, but maybe not the right case, don't know. On a technicality, even though most of those that testified were actual victims of Harvey Weinstein, he's got multiple counts in Los Angeles and New York. I think he's got over 50 years to do, so this is only going to take a few years off of the 50, and he's so old I doubt he gets out. But the point is, for liberal judges in New York to take some of his convictions away in the middle of the Donald Trump trial in New York, don't you see that timing a little unique? And the guy that is going to be over this is Alvin Bragg. So it'll be Alvin Bragg's choice to bring Harvey Weinstein up for new charges or a new trial. I wonder if Alvin's got any time to do this. Harvey Weinstein's rape conviction overturned by New York appeals court. Actress Ashley Judd, who previously came forward with allegations against Weinstein, called the latest ruling an act of institutional betrayal. And I could see where they think that. And here, this is a very powerful women on the left calling out very powerful judges, an appeals court of lady judges. Just think what this is doing inside the woman's world. You know, there used to be a time where women pretty much stood together. A lot of women told me back in 2016 they were voting for Hillary Clinton just because they wanted to see the first woman president. And the glass ceiling, you heard all that stuff, right? And it wasn't based on her qualifications. It wasn't based on anything else because nobody really liked Hillary. She was not a very likable person. But because she had enough moxie and money, she worked her way into the Democratic nomination. Even though Bernie Sanders technically won the nomination, if you don't believe me, ask Tulsi Gabbard. That's why she stepped down from being the vice president of the Democratic Party that year and gave up her superdelegate vote and said, I cannot participate in a theft. So Hillary Clinton stole the nomination from Bernie Sanders, and I would have loved to see Bernie versus Trump. That would have been a good race and good debates. But anyway, so what you've got here is a situation where a lot of folks are concerned if we're going to have what we've been having. Now, as I read earlier, there's some rock and rollers that are pulling out. Kiss My Blank, the 70 rock star said, and she said it that Democrats lie with more lies, and that it's not cool to vote Democrat. Don't be a fool. And so Sherry Curry, the punk rock and roller, has voted Democrat all of her life. And I thought this was very interesting. Let me skip down to this one point. She goes, it used to be punk, R&R, to vote Democrat. I fell for it, Cruz said. But when your party demands you live in fear, squalor, beyond your means by just buying groceries, gasoline, disrespecting our veterans, our police, our elderly, supporting criminals, she has criminals capitalized, chaos, riots, Hamas, failing Israel, she had failing capitalized, demeaning us at every turn, hurting our children, wasting our money, ineptitude with every policy, lies and more lies. No more, she continued. The Democratic Party can kiss my ba-ba-doo-ba-doo, and that means I don't give a boop, boop, boop. So voting Dem used to be cool, but now it just makes you a fool. So when you have a rock and roll icon who played with Joan Jett and many others coming out with that boldest statement on social media, you know you've crossed a line. Democrats are not happy. Now, the One America News says over half of Americans support large deportation of illegal immigrants. And I'm going to have a call in at 5 o'clock today. One of my listeners in New Jersey, he's a great guy. He came here from India, and he'll explain to you his pilgrimage here and his family. But the interesting thing is he said most of the folks that work the immigration process, if you will, are Democrats. Most of the volunteers lean Democrat and liberal. So therefore, while people are coming into this country, they're being persuaded to say, hey, it's the Democrats, they're your friends. Savvy? So it's something for you to think about. If you're looking for a cause and you're a conservative, you might want to start volunteering with the folks that are coming here through the immigration process. You don't have to make them Republicans, but you sure don't have to push a particular party at all. But over half of America supports large deportations of illegal immigrants. This is the One America News. And it was rather interesting. They've got the share of Americans who say they support mass deportations. The general public is at 51%. And they broke it down by race because some of you are dying to know. White, 56%. Latinos at 45%. Blacks at 48%. That's nearly 50% of blacks saying they think they need to go. So I thought that was interesting. Political affiliation, Republicans 68%, Independents 46%, and Democrats, 42% of Democrats believe in some form of mass deportation. That's been a recent change. 6 months ago, they were not that much in favor. So the boomers generation, 68, Gen X at 53, millennials at 48. Interesting. You want to go check out the article, One America News. It's their lead story. But the data also reveals 30% of Democrats and 40% of Republicans claim they support ending birthright citizenship, which is guaranteed under the Constitution, the 14th Amendment. 21% of pollsters stated that their biggest fear surrounding illegal immigration is crime rate, drugs, and violence. So what's happened here? It's infringing on people's private lives. Bottom line. This is Macil Duncan. My new book, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Lifeway Books, Thrifty, wherever you get your online material. Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome. Don't forget my radio show is every day, 3 to 6 p.m. on the Street Level America and U.S. Radio Today Heartbeat. We're in 32 states and multiple countries, and thanks so much. Move Your Mountains by Macil Duncan.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. That's 800-957-6062. Paid for by Term Direct.
This is Macil Duncan. If you'd like to help us feed the hungry, you can go online today at www.appisonbaptist.com. That's appisonbaptist.com and help us feed the hungry. We're feeding right at 3,000 people or more a month, one time. We do that by giving out food at our food pantry, but also going downtown to the tent cities and a lot of veterans and homeless people. So again, help us feed the hungry at www.appisonbaptist.com.
Attention business owners. Have you already filed for your employer retention credit with the IRS? As reported in a major financial paper, the IRS will be slowing down ERC checks. You could now be waiting several months to a year plus to get your ERC money. We can help you get it within 10 days. As long as you've already filed for your ERC with the IRS, we can advance you the money. Finance ERC has already funded millions of dollars in ERC money. You don't need to wait to get your money. We can get it to you within 10 days. Again, if you've already filed your employer retention credit, we can help you get the money in your bank account within 10 days from today. But you need to call right now while time is on your side. Here's our number. Not available in all states.
800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. That's 800-570-7651.
What that is a welcome to Cambridge video. I'm not going to play the rest of it. Can you imagine, people? This was 2 years ago. What will be the video next year? Bring your tent. bring your weapons, because if you come to class and you don't agree with our policies, you might get beat up. This is crazy. I don't understand why people are giving these people in charge are giving away the whole farm, and it just doesn't make sense. This is police had to detain demonstrators in Emory University, now in Atlanta. This just an hour ago. A big fight broke out in Emory. So what's going on? There's evidently a big clash.
Get on the ground. Get back.
This is ugly.
Get back.
These are looks like Palestinian favored guys. They took a swing at police and they're going down and they're shouting, "Let them go." Okay, you got to understand something here, my friends. You can't swing at police officers. And just because you have a mob behind you doesn't make it right. Savvy? I'm amazed at this. This just broke out in Atlanta. This is going to be going on, and this guy clearly looks to me, I'll just say, it wouldn't surprise me if he was a paid actor. If you just look closely, you can tell. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So what we're having here in the country is you have a lot of animosity, a lot of folks getting jacked up, and they're getting you jacked up on a lot of issues. They're getting you jacked up on the border issues. And by allowing people to flood into the borders, it's bringing people to a situation where they're getting fearful for jobs. They're getting fearful for their security. Small towns that aren't equipped to have this many folks come in with language barriers and not having the ability to take care of their own needs. And so people are taking resources to feed and clothe and lodge people that came across illegally. And the government, it's like they're doing this intentionally, my friends. This is by no accident. Joe Biden opening up the border for 3 years straight. This is something going on. And now, right before the election, to have all these breakouts on the campuses. Please don't be this naive. This just didn't happen because someone had a little bit of a tiff. This is planned. This is coordinated. And you'll not convince me otherwise. Well, Nancy Pelosi, you can't make this stuff up. This is Nancy Fancy the Nancy.
The overwhelming, we don't know how many people have died. We have the Hamas report. Let's accept that.
Wait, what?
Tens of thousands. 10 would be too many, but tens of thousands.
35,000 seems to be the number at the moment.
I know that's what it said, and let's accept that it's too many, whatever it is. 10 would be too many, but
35,000 seems to be the number at the moment.
So Nancy Fancy accidentally spoke truth. There was an Irish woman interviewing her about illegal immigrants in a certain area, and the Irish lady corrected her and said 35,000. And then Nancy slipped up and said, yeah, well, 10's too many. Listen to this again. This is Nancy Pelosi accidentally having a moment of truth about illegal aliens in the country.
The overwhelming, we don't know how many people have died. We have the Hamas report. Let's accept that. Let's accept that. It's report. Let's accept that. It's report. Let's accept that. It's.
Wait, what?
Tens of thousands. 10 would be too many, but tens of thousands.
35,000 seems to be the number at the moment.
10 would be too many, but tens of thousands.
35,000
be too many, but tens of
35,000.
Many, but tens of
35,000 seems to be the number at the moment.
I know that's what it said, and let's accept that it's too many, whatever it is. 10 would be too many, but
35,000 seems to be the number at the moment.
So, it's pretty obvious. Even the Democrats know the border crisis has gotten out of hand. For Fancy Nancy to have that slip up in an interview, I don't know about you. I think that's something. Well, the Supreme Court case is going on, and it seems that there's some ground of middle ground for immunity agreement. Let's see what this report says on it, and I've got one up here. I don't know if you guys have heard, but the Supreme Court is debating on immunity. Does a president have immunity?
See, the private acts don't get immunity.
We do.
Okay. So in the special counsel's brief on pages 46 and 47.
This is Justice Amy Coney Barrett. I'll back it up and turn it down. It's just a little loud there. Amy Barrett.
We do.
Okay. So in the special counsel's brief on pages 46 and 47, he urges us, even if we were to decide or assume that there was some sort of immunity for official acts, that there were sufficient private acts in the indictment for the case to go back and the trial to begin immediately. And I want to know if you agree or disagree about the characterization of these acts as private. Petitioner turned to a private attorney who was willing to spread knowingly false claims of election fraud to spearhead his challenges to the election results. Private?
as alleged. I mean, we dispute the allegation, but that sounds private to me.
Sounds private. Petitioner conspired with another private attorney who caused the filing in court of a verification signed by petitioner that contained false allegations to support a challenge.
That also sounds private.
3 private actors, 2 attorneys, including those mentioned above, and a political consultant helped implement a plan to submit fraudulent slates of presidential electors to obstruct the certification proceeding, and petitioner and a co-conspirator attorney directed that effort.
You read it quickly. I believe that's private. I don't want to.
So those acts you would not dispute. Those were private, and you wouldn't raise a claim that they were official.
As characterized, what we would say, Your Honor, if I may, what we would say is official is things like meeting with the Department of Justice to deliberate about who's going to be the acting Attorney General of the United States.
Sure.
Communicating with the American public, communicating with Congress about matters of enormous value.
Thank you.
So that wasn't very clear to me. I don't know if any of you could read the tea leaves very well there. But Newsmax has this: Supreme Court justices in Trump case lean towards some immunity. That's what we keep hearing. Conservative U.S. Supreme Court justices signaled sympathy for the argument that presidents have some immunity from criminal charges for certain actions taken in office, as it heard arguments over Donald Trump's claim of immunity from prosecution of trying to undo his 2020 election loss. Some of the questions posed during the Thursday arguments probed hypothetical examples of presidents' wrongdoing, such as selling nuclear secrets, ordering a coup or a political assassination, or taking a bribe. None of these are charges. These are hypotheticals. But some of the conservative justices who hold a 6-3 majority voiced concern about presidents lacking any level of immunity, including or less obviously egregious acts. We're writing a rule for the ages, conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch said in arguments, which is very true. I'm glad he's taken this that serious. Trump appealed after lower courts rejected his request to be shielded from 4 election-related criminal charges on the grounds that he was serving as president when he took the action that led to the indictment obtained by special counsel Jack Smith. Conservative Justice Samuel Alito said a president is in a particularly precarious position, as he expressed concern about presidents having to worry about being indicted out of office, which is true. You're going to hamstring these guys, which maybe that's what they want. If an incumbent who loses a very close, hotly contested election knows that a real possibility after leaving office is not that the president is going to be able to go into a peaceful retirement, but that his president may be criminally prosecuted by a bitter political opponent, will that not lead us to a cycle that destabilizes the functioning of our country as a democracy? Alito asked Michael Debrin, the lawyer representing the special counsel. And we can look around the world and find countries where we have seen this process where the loser gets thrown in jail, Alito said. So I think it's exactly the opposite, Just Alito, Durbin responded. There are lawful mechanisms to contest the results of an election. So blah, 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 blah. You guys, I don't know about you, but sometimes you just wish, can they not all just go smoke a peace pipe somewhere and get over it? Remember the Indians used to get around, and once they had a few battles, they'd have a peace pipe moment and say, hey, let's all just pledge to do better and move on. Don't know if that could ever happen in this case. Well, as I mentioned before, Title IX is becoming a huge issue. Biden's Title IX rules guarantees discrimination, censorship, and the end of parent rights. This is in the Federalist, if you'd like to go check out the article. Interesting. I'll be back.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-708-3092. 800-708-3092. That's 800-708-3092.
This is Macil Duncan. My new book, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Lifeway Books, Thrifty, wherever you get your online material. Move your mountains. Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome. Don't forget my radio show is every day, 3 to 6 p.m. on the Street Level America and U.S. Radio Today Heartbeat. We're in 32 states and multiple countries, and thanks so much. Move your mountains by Macil Duncan.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. That's 800-957-6062. Paid for by Term Direct.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. That's 800-803-3771.
Some breaking news right now in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis just signing a law allowing chaplains in public and charter schools. He's expected to set up a big fight now between the Sunshine State and what's known as the Satanic Temple, who might want to take advantage of this new law.
We are on the story. Miami correspondent Leonardo Feldman has the details and some new sound from the governor there. Good morning, Leo.
Good morning, John and Emma. That's right. Well, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis just signed, as you said, the bill that will allow for volunteer chaplains in public and charter schools like this one behind me here in Florida. What I can tell you is that the Satanic Temple says they're going to try and put their own volunteers in the schools. We know that Florida Governor...
Did you catch that? The Satanic Temple are going to try to put their own volunteers in the schools.
They're going to try and put their own volunteers. They're going to try and put their own volunteers. Temple says they're going to try and put their own volunteers in the schools. Volunteers in the schools. The schools we know. The schools we know that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has vowed that this will not happen. The Satanic organization is threatening legal action if they're not allowed to volunteer. We know that Lucian G., a spokesman for the temple, says he is confident that the Constitution guarantees their religious freedom, and if schools refuse to allow Satanic chaplains while permitting chaplains of any other religious viewpoint, those schools will have no hope of prevailing in the subsequent legal battle that will ensue.
So, Ron DeSantis taking a strong stand, and this was a few days ago, but I wanted to play that to remind you that there is an element in this country wanting to take the minds of your children. And it's amazing how the Satanic Church has just come out of the closet. They used to be more secretive and more elusive. Now they're very bold and very proud. They're planning satanic clubs in schools. And you know, the one in Memphis, that was a big deal. And they've come out and said every school that has a Bible club, they will plant a satanic club. And they said their goal is to get all Bible clubs because they believe most Christians will fold and just say, well, we'll pull our Bible club so they won't have our satanic club. See, that's what's the problem. We live in a world of Christian cowardness, Christian weakness, Christian wimps. They won't stand up. They're afraid of harassment. They're afraid of lawsuits. They're afraid of doing the right thing. And because so many Christians do fold and fail, They just bank on it. They don't count on any Christian standing tall when it comes time to stand tall. And Christian, you've got to pray about that. Some have embraced pansiness as some kind of a spiritual virtue. It's not. I know, blessed are the peacemakers. Yeah, but a peacemaker, the word maker, the word peace, maker, someone that makes peace happen. Sometimes the peacemaker has to stand up and say, that's unacceptable. That's not going to happen. Not on my watch. But having that kind of backbone, that fervor, there has to be a faith. We have to believe in something beyond this world. If all you believe in what's balancing here, well, then that's no wonder. And there's a lot of people that claim to know Christ or be in the body of Christ, that they live in such fear. I've wondered, what Christ are you talking about? I know God says love one another, love others. But he also says we're to hate sin. We're to love our enemies, yes. But nowhere in the world does he say embrace sinful behavior and act like it's okay. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. Well, Governor Newsom announces a new bill in response to Arizona abortion ban. I don't know if you know that, since they're kissing cousins there, Arizona and California. Governor Gavin Newsom, who, don't forget, went to China and got an audience with Xi, and then Xi came to California, and they rolled out the red carpet, had all the Chinese flags everywhere, no American flag, mind you. Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a new bill in response to the Arizona abortion ban. On Wednesday, Newsom, Democrat of California, announced that along with legislative leaders, he will be advancing a law that would allow health care providers in Arizona to provide reproductive care to patients fleeing the state to California. Did you hear that? So he's basically trying to say, hey, people that believe in abortions, if you want to perform abortions, he's basically, it sounds like he's going to let you come to California and do the dirty deed, because they won't let you do it in California. Newsom said the last 160,000 women across the country had to leave their states to seek reproductive care. It's not reproductive. Reproduction is when you allow life to live, you ignod. It's not reproductive care. It's killing children. Wish they would learn to at least talk with some sense. Well, the morning consult poll, voters are lined with Trump on abortion. This is Newsmax. It just came out. This is their new lead story as of 30 minutes ago. Former President Donald Trump's opinion that the issue of abortion legality should be left to each state is in sync with the voters of a new survey showed. Politico reported a morning consult survey asked for a response to states making their own laws on abortion access. 50% supporting the stance, 35% opposing it. But the poll shows Trump could be vulnerable on abortion issues with independents and some GOP voters, Politico reported. But 60% of self-identified Republicans say they support states making their own rules on abortion, okay? And that's pretty big. So independent voters favor both federal and state approaches. So that's where, independents, some people say they're independent, but deep down inside they're still a Democrat or Republican. They just say that out of frustration, I believe, of the time. But the other issue is Biden's Title IX rule guarantees discrimination, censorship, and the end of parents' rights. I was looking this over. It's in the Federalist. You might check it out. But in a call with reporters last week, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona disingenuously claimed that the Biden administration's sweeping new Title IX rule makes crystal clear that everyone can have access to schools that are safe, welcoming, and respect their rights. Actually, the new Title IX regulations socially engineer every component of the educational environment to create dangerous and unwelcoming schools for girls and young women, while also undermining parents who affirm biological reality. So evidently, if school, like here in Chattanooga, we have GPS. It's a girls' preparatory school. this is going to open the door for a guy that says, hey, I'm a girl. I want to go to GPS. Now, if I couldn't afford it. GPS is a very accomplished school. But the tuition's pretty high. But I can't imagine majority of the parents would want their daughter up there with some dude pretending to be a girl. I just don't see it. But this is the new Title IX is evidently going to open all those doors. It's opening Pandora's box so wide, there'll be litigation for decades to come. So despite the common misconception that Title IX simply protects women's collegiate sports, its robust anti-discrimination mandate and prohibits federally funded educational institutions, early childhood, K through 12, etc. So this is going to be interesting to see. Well, I've got my caller from New Jersey calling in. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, my friend. And if you hear me say we got to go to break, it's because we're almost at a commercial break. Okay. But do me a favor. Pronounce your name for me. I always mess it up.
Ankush Bhandari.
Ankush. I got that. What's your last name?
Bhandari.
Bangadi.
Right.
Ankush.
Bhandari. BH. Yeah. Ankush ANKUSH BHANDARI. And one thing I just want to let you know that I am on a green card, not a citizen. But so don't say citizen. Some people get okay.
Oh, got you. You're on a green card, and
yes. And
it
took me 13 years to get that.
Well, how long have you been in America?
16 years.
16 years, and you're originally from. Your family came from India.
Yes, right.
What? Okay, and
it took 13 years to get to the green card. So that's what I want to highlight today. That legally, if you come and you came from India, it took you more than 12, 13 years to get a green card. And the illegal immigrants, which are now more than 10 million in this country, will get eventually the green card within 6 months or 1 year. So why this disparity is there when people who pay the taxes like me didn't get the green card, and the illegal who are on the government funding get the green card,
Does it upset you that they're bringing all these folks in, giving them all this money, and you've done it the right way?
Yeah, it burns my blood. Why not? And I would have also crossed the river and come over, and within 6 months I would get a job, and 1 year I will get a green card. Why should I wait for 15 years with all the visas restrictions and the visas getting renewed over and over again every 2 years?
Well, it's obviously it's a messed up system. And,
it's a really messed up system. Either they let everyone to come here and get the green card right on the arrival, or they will have the same policy for everybody, right? Apples should be considered as an apple. So why illegal are getting prioritized over legal one? So that's a question to the federal government, to the Biden administration.
Well, people like yourself, you've been waiting in line. You guys, in my opinion, are at the first of the line. They should go ahead and get you guys processed and let you become citizens and then work on the others. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's what the law should be. That the people who are already in the line and are paying taxes to this government, helping to build the economy, they should be prioritized instead of the one who are illegal here, just crossed the river and are on the lot of schemes, the government funding schemes, should not be given a green card or even the schemes. Every day we are spending $8 million for the illegal immigrants, whether it's the healthcare or to live them in the hotels or to give them food coupons. $8 million. And where did $8 million is coming? From you and me, from our taxes which we pay to the government. And every 100 days we are getting $1 trillion in debt. Why we are paying $8 million to these people and then taking the debt every 100 days? So where this country is heading? to a big financial crisis.
And up in New Jersey, where you're at, what's gas right now? What are you paying?
Gas prices are approximately quarter to four, like $3.70 to $4, depending on. And New Jersey, the gas prices are always the lowest in the whole United States because when the gas came, it is first get on the ports of New Jersey. So we are very lucky here not to pay for the transportation. But here the gas prices is above the roof, you know.
Well, it's up here at about $3.24 a gallon. But one of my listeners in California sent me a pic and said it's over $7 a gallon in California right now.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we people are facing the heat of the illegal policies of the woke administration right now of America.
So, Ankush, as you've been here 13 years, and you've told me before, in the process of coming to America, that there was mostly Democrats that were working the process to get you through the paperwork. Was that true? Did I understand that correctly?
Say your question again. I didn't get that.
You said it was predominantly Democrats that were volunteering or helping people process. Therefore,
no.
Okay.
What I said was when the people came here, they were under the impression that Democrats are democratic in nature.
Okay.
That's why the people when they become citizens, they register themselves as Democrats, and still my Hindu community right now is almost 80% or 70 to 80% Democrats registered. But because of the policies of the previous administration and Trump administration and the recent policies of the Biden administration, people are waking up now. They are comparing and contrasting and seeing which is a better for any community or any citizen of America. And now people are becoming, or I will say migrating from Democrats to Republican now.
So are you sensing there in New Jersey, which probably leans more Democratic, are they waking up and smelling the coffee up there?
Yeah, people are waking up in small batches, but now the time has come that the shift is changing, I will say slowly, but drastically too. Because when the people are being hurt on their pockets, on their families, nobody can tolerate that. And the inflation is above the roof these days, you know that, right? So when the inflation hits you, it hits you every part of your life, whether it's the kids' education or it's the paying your gas bills or paying your renters, anything, right? So it affects you. Earlier, people were able to save, let's say, 10% of their salary. I'm giving an example. But now people are not able to save even 5% of their salaries for the rainy days. It's too much of inflation. Minimum inflation, I was reading on the internet just day before yesterday, is 43% for people like you and me, because we don't go to the cruises, we don't go to the tourist places often. What we generally do, the food on the table, the clothes on our body, and the roof of our head, right? And everything is expensive.
I went to Arby's today, Ankush, to get me some lunch because I was running some errands for the church, and I thought I'd swing through Arby's. $12.68 for a sandwich, fry, and a drink.
See, earlier it was just $5. If I'm not wrong, $5 to $6 you can get your lunch. Nowadays you can't get your lunch below than $25.
It's ridiculous. And me and my wife went to Wendy's the other day and spent $26, and we got ourselves 2 sandwiches, fries, drink, and we got us 2 small Frosties, and it was $26. And we just laughed at this is just insane.
And if this trend continues, Pastor, just think the middle income class will go to the poor class. And America runs on the middle income group. 70% of American population is middle income group. They are from paycheck to paycheck. If they are small business owners, they work hard from morning 8 o'clock till evening 6 o'clock to feed their families, to feed themselves, to put a roof on their head, right? And because of all the changes, the people are becoming more poor. The Biden policies, the Biden administration policies are pushing the people to poverty. If it is so expensive, people will not go out to eat because they know it's too expensive. The business owner indirectly will be hampered. Their profits will go down. And if they don't have the profit, they will let the people who work there to go off. And if people go off, they will come into poverty. There are many small business owners who have sold their businesses in the last 2 years. More than 300,000 in whole America. And just, it's not 300,000. Just see, if a family is selling his business and in a family of 4 people, husband, wife, and 2 kids, so it means we are putting more than 1 million people into poverty.
And so, where do you get your information from, Angus?
I read on the internet. I don't remember the website. I think it was
Now you work for IBM, so you're pretty good with computers and knowledge. I would imagine. How long have you been? You've listened to my show now for over a year. Is that right?
Yeah, almost 2 years now.
Almost 2 years. Okay, because you've been on before.
2 years will complete in September. I think we first talked in September when I saw your show and I spoke with you that your show is really fantastic. I saw it on the Facebook, and in September I think it was near September, end of the season and the start of the winters,
Well, I appreciate. We've got there's a New Jersey Freedom group up there that carries my show, and the numbers escape me, but it's also on a local cable network. They show the video. What I'm showing it'll be on a local. It's not very big. I'm not trying to act like I'm some Glenn Beck or something, but we're getting the ground out there and getting the word out there. But I used to live in New Jersey. I think I told you that when I was a kid.
I didn't know that. Oh, you are a Jersey then, okay.
Yeah, my dad was an FBI agent. He's retired now, and it's not the FBI he worked for. He's been retired 35 years now. But he, when we lived up in New Jersey, we used to go to the 7-Elevens and used to say "Use guys." So I remember, and we had a lot of snow. The weather was different. When we moved to Tennessee, I was 9 years old. To Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's where I am now. But I loved New Jersey. Man, I used to love the Arthur Treacher fish and chips. I don't know if they still have that. And but we used to have a lot of good time up there. But my question to you is are you seeing people, because right now I've shown some polls. Democrats are getting very frustrated with their own party. 78% of registered voting Democrats said they wish they had another choice besides Biden. Do you see Kennedy making any ground up there, Robert F. Kennedy?
100%, sir. Robert F. Kennedy will take a good chunk of the votes from Biden, and I think Democrats was most stupid party that they have not led him to lead the presidential race. If Kennedy versus Trump would be there, it would be very, very nice and intriguing to see their policies, compare and contrasting their policies, and it would be very good competitive presidential race. But now, since Biden is there, who even don't know what he is doing, right? I don't have to comment on your channel. Again and again, the whole world knows that the way he speaks, the way he uses the languages to the news readers or to the reporters. It's awful, right? And even the language he used against President Putin, right? He called him a son of a bitch, which was absolutely out of line language. So leave Biden. I don't want to discuss. That's another story to discuss. But as you mentioned, yes, if Kennedy and President Trump were in the race, it would be very, very competitive, very, very nice race to watch. And I think America would have got that race to see maybe after many decades, maybe after Ronald Reagan, 1980s race. You know, I read Reagan how he led the race, and it was really good to learn and hear how these real Republicans has led the race. You know.
Well, in 2028, it's going to be interesting because Biden and Trump will be gone. You know, and
yes.
I'm curious. Kennedy, if he favors well, could be the lead candidate for the Democrats. Republicans, I don't know, because Ron DeSantis kind of poo-pooed in MAGA country he should not have entered the race this year, but he got talked into it.
No, but if you ask me, in 2028, I want either Tim Scott as a presidential candidate or Vivek Ramaswamy as a presidential candidate.
Vivek.
Yeah, both of them I have followed. I have seen their tweets. I have even attended. Even I was one of the members who raised a fundraiser for Vivek Ramaswamy in Jersey, and I have talked with him personally too. I have seen his videos. I have seen his blogs. These are the people who really are true American. They are not traitors like we have the Democrats, you know.
Do you think Vivek Ramaswamy is one of the reasons Ronna McDaniel had to resign because of what he did?
I can't comment on that, but I will be honest. I think that's maybe what happened behind the scenes. But I think, well, as a common man, I should not comment on that. Maybe, may not be. I have no idea on that, Pastor.
Well, I just think it's interesting. He out of the blue jumped on her like that, and it's like everyone woke up and said, you know, he's right. Everything she touched died. She from 2018, we lost every election under her leadership, and with her being Mitt Romney's, niece or what have you, you just got to wonder if some of it was engineered to keep Trump out of office.
Maybe. I 100%, or I will not say 100%, but 99% I concur on that. Maybe 1% it's not the reason, but maybe I can take that with a pinch of salt. Maybe, yes.
And Swamy even said he doesn't think they'll let Donald Trump get anywhere near the White House. He says they're going to do whatever they can, including taking him out, killing him. Him and Tucker Carlson had that talk. And I would hate to see that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they don't go to those measures of attempts. But
right.
But right now, do you see Donald Trump? Is he favoring in New Jersey at all? How's he favoring?
Oh yeah, he's coming to Jersey on May 11th. He has his rally, so we are really, really excited to see him. Obviously not face to face, but still a couple of yards away. We can see our president. Our previous president and our coming president, and still the president of America. I consider him, I will be honest with you, because people ask me, hey, you love Donald Trump? I said that's a very stupid and a very vague question. I love him as a president of America. He was because of his policies. And I don't have to marry him.
Hey, we got to go to commercial break. Hold that thought, okay? This is Macil Duncan. If you'd like to help us feed the hungry, you can go online today at www.appisonbaptist.com. That's appisonbaptist.com and help us feed the hungry. We're feeding right at 3,000 people or more a month, one time. We do that by giving out food at our food pantry, but also going downtown to the tent cities and a lot of veterans and homeless people. So again, help us feed the hungry at www.appisonbaptist.com.
Attention business owners. Have Have you already filed for your employer retention credit with the IRS? As reported in a major financial paper, the IRS will be slowing down ERC checks. You could now be waiting several months to a year plus to get your ERC money. We can help you get it within 10 days. As long as you've already filed for your ERC with the IRS, we can advance you the money. Finance ERC has already funded millions of dollars in ERC money. You don't need to wait to get your money. We can get it to you within 10 days. Again, if you've already filed your employer retention credit, we can help you get the money in your bank account within 10 days from today. But you need to call right now while time is on your side. Here's our number. Not available in all states.
800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. That's 800-570-7651.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. 800-932-3721. That's 800-932-3721.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. That's 800-803-3771.
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Ross. Hey, are you there, Bob Fred?
Yes, I'm here.
I just played the Ramaswamy, that a minute clip there where he just went after Ronna McDaniel and that news reporter. And the guy's fearless. Swamy's got I guess what you say, he's got some stones. He's not afraid to say what he wants to say.
Yeah, that's what we stand for, right? That was the GOP stands for. We have to be honest. First, we have to be honest with ourselves, right? Then we have to be honest with our country. Then we have to be honest with anybody else in the world.
Well, he called us a party of losers that night because of all the losses. I mean, would you agree with him? Has the GOP been a party of losers the past 5 or so years?
Yes and no. If you ask me as a Republican, yes, I say because we have a lot of rhinos here which work against us. They are just Republican in their name. They do nothing. They have their liberal ideology. They don't have really conservative values. And no, because we still have the congressman like, what is his name of a congressman in Florida who put a motion against the first
Is that
speaker.
Gates, Matt Gates?
Matt Gates, yes. We still have those people. We have the congressman like Green, right, from Georgia. We still have a lot of good working, hard-working, highly valued conservative values congressmen and the people and the senator working day in and day out. Institutions like last couple of weeks I was in leadership institution in Virginia, and I was really amazed with the values the people still hold. And I still pray that these values should spread like a wildfire not only in America but the whole of world, so that it become a better place to live. So yes, I hope I answer your question, right?
Yes.
Because we still have to get the people who just want the positions but don't want to work for our values. That is highly, highly, highly unacceptable.
Well, what's your take on Speaker Johnson? Do you think he's betrayed the GOP, or is he just in a tough spot?
Speaker Johnson, I will be honest with you, when he came, I went through his profile. I didn't know much about him. I think he will do a good job. But the way they passed the bill to give the aid to Ukraine, it really gave me a shock that, okay, Israel is a different ball game. Jews are our brothers and sisters, and we have to help against the terrorists. And Ukraine is an entirely different ball game. This is the most corrupt country on the earth and the most corrupt president on the earth. Why do we have to send our taxpayer money to the most corrupt person in the world? We are done with Ukraine.
Well, what we ended up doing, we gave all the authority to Chuck Schumer, because when you pass them individually, he got to cherry pick which ones went through the Senate, and he's not, because they didn't attach the border to any of the bills, which he promised he was going to do. So passing him individually, he's going to pass. He's going to pass the Ukraine. He's going to pass probably the one to help the Gaza and possibly Israel, but he's not going to pass the border. They sent the border as a single piece of legislation, and I think Schumer showed. I think he got outmaneuvered, because I think Speaker Johnson seems like a wonderful guy, but I just think he got outplayed. I think Schumer and DC got the best of him. And
there's a lot of swamp in DC. I'm telling you, a lot of corruption, a lot of swamp, a lot of anti-Americans who reside there in the mask of as an American. I will be honest with you on your show. We need to clean that swamp. And like President Trump said, like Tim Scott said, like Vivek Ramaswamy said, the time has come when we need to clean the swamp, irrespective of the party, irrespective of their ethnicity, irrespective of whatever they are. Like Ilhan Omar, right? I'm very happy she was kicked out of the Foreign Affairs team because she was always spitting on America. If you don't like America, go back to Somalia. We have not given you, we have not chained you here that you can't leave the country. Take a ticket and go back. Right?
I like that.
If you don't have the money, let me tell you on your show, Ilhan Omar, I can give you your ticket to go back to Somalia. I will sponsor it, okay? You just let me know. I will send you the ticket wherever you want.
And her daughter, they got in trouble in college. You'll send them both back?
Say it again?
And her daughter, they just got in trouble in college.
Yeah.
Will
you
pay for both of them?
The colleges have become like a front here. I live in Jersey, next to the New York City, right? In Columbia. What's going on in Columbia? What's going on in Yale? What's going on in New York State University? Means people are saying all the nonsense thing. You must have heard, right? In Michigan, they said death to America. Okay, boss, if you want to say such thing, then leave America.
Well, they just had an outbreak in Atlanta. I played it a few minutes ago, parts of it. Emory College, I think it is. The Palestinians took swings at police officers, and so the cops are cuffing them, and the crowd starts chanting, "Let them go, let them go." You can't take swings at police officers and not face any consequence. At least you shouldn't.
And then they want to defund the police. They want to create they make this country like the fourth world country, not even the third world. Third world country also have some administration in place, whether it's Somalia, whether it's Libya, or whether it's Burma or any other country, right, which we call the third world banana republic. They want to make this country be below that, you know. I don't have the words, what word I will use from the Oxford Dictionary, but this is insane. This is traitorship. Well, this is absolutely nonsense.
Let me bring up a new topic to you. I'm curious to know what your view of BRICS is. You know, Brazil, Russia, India, China. Because since you're from India, and India is a major player in BRICS, they're developing, some economical and military alliances. Since you're from India, would that be a cause of conflict for you if BRICS and NATO became at some kind of odds?
BRICS, as far as I understand, and the latest statement from the foreign secretary or the foreign minister we call in India, Dr. Jaishankar, he said BRICS is an economic powerhouse. It has nothing to do with the military one.
Well, China's wanting it to, though.
Yeah, they have a lot of money.
China's pushing it to be a military alliance. Yes, in 2010, when it started, it was just pure economic. But
yeah, that's why India said that we don't want to make it in a military alliance. I will not say China, but I think Russia also want to push it to make it a military alliance as comparison to NATO. But India being the main permanent member and the co-founder of this, founding member of this, will not allow that, because our policies, because it's mainly the Hindu religion over there, which says Vasudev Kutumbakam, which means that the whole universe is a family, and we are always against war. So they are not going to pass it unless and until a very rogue prime minister like Biden came, which we don't wish will be there in India. Since the Modi administration is there, he's very against making any military alliance. And we don't need a military alliance anywhere. We already have America, which we are working. We are also working with Japan. We are also working with Australia in Quad, right? We are already a part of 2 Quads. The first Quad is, that Japan, Australia, America, and India. The second Quad, which we are, is America, Israel, UAE, and India. So we already have a lot of Quads over there, which can be a full-scale military alliance, then to become BRICS military alliance and going with China, the communist country. I don't think any Indian citizen will want to go with China as a allies in the military affair. I don't think so.
Well, in population, India's got one of the largest population bases of people. If I'm not mistaken, you guys really do, and so therefore, if it came to a fight or military, you guys probably have a pretty good army. Do you not have a good sized army?
Yeah, I think the army is the third largest in the world. Because we have around 1.5 million soldiers.
We're going to another commercial break. We'll be right back with my buddy from New Jersey. This is Macil Duncan. My new book, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Lifeway Books, Thrifty, wherever you get your online material. Move your mountains. Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome. Don't forget my radio show is every day, 3 to 6 p.m. on the Street Level America and U.S. Radio Today Heartbeat. We're in 32 states and multiple countries, and thanks so much. Move your mountains, my Macil Duncan.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. That's 800-957-6062. Paid for by Term Direct.
This is Macil Duncan. If you'd like to help us feed the hungry, you can go online today at www.appletonbaptist.com. That's appletonbaptist.com and help us feed the hungry. We're feeding right at 3,000 people or more a month, one time. We do that by giving out food at our food pantry, but also going downtown to the tent cities and a lot of veterans and homeless people. So again, help us feed the hungry at www.appletonbaptist.com.
Attention business owners. Have you already filed for your employer retention credit with the IRS? As reported in a major financial paper, the IRS will be slowing down ERC checks. You could now be waiting several months to a year plus to get your ERC money. We can help you get it within 10 days. As long as you've already filed for your ERC with the IRS, we can advance you the money. Finance ERC has already funded millions of dollars in ERC money. You don't need to wait to get your money. We can get it to you within 10 days. Again, if you've already filed your employer retention credit, we can help you get the money in your bank account within 10 days from today. But you need to call right now while time is on your side. Here's our number. Not available in all states.
800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. 800-570-7651. That's 800-570-7651.
Administrators going around this whole circle, and well over 100 people here, some of them students, but they're really not getting much cooperation from these students because some of the organizers are standing behind the administrators telling the people who are linked arms here on the ground not to talk to the administration. So they are, many of them, not showing their student IDs. So at this point, it doesn't really seem to be clear who's a student, who's not a student. Many of them appear to be students, but they're not getting that identification, at least, and they're not providing it to the administration.
Well, this is Macil Duncan. This is the Macil Duncan Show. I've got my good friend Ankesh from New Jersey calling in, and I just played a clip, buddy, that just dropped from Boston, and something I've said all along. All these students that are linked arm in arm, they refuse to show their student IDs because they're finding out over half of these demonstrators are not even students. They're crisis actors or possibly people that have crossed the border with an assignment to be a part of disruption. Would that surprise you, Ankesh, if we found out that to be true?
100%. See what is going on here. What happened to that girl who was doing medicine in Georgia, right? That was an illegal immigrant. What happened just a couple of days back in my neighborhood? The cops found a car. There were 3 Latinos over there. I'm not saying all the Latinos are bad. Not. It doesn't make any sense if I say that. But they found 3 Latinos, and the car was stolen. The things in the car, which were very expensive, clothes, the jewelry, the shoes, everything is stolen. and they were filed. They have to put them in jail. The police have to file a complaint. So they must be the illegal immigrants, because I know hundreds of Latinos who are my friends and who are settled here, who are hardworking people. But what these all illegal immigrants are doing? They are doing this, and who are sponsoring them? Obviously, some of the liberals like George Soros, who want to destabilize the country, or some of the puppets from the China or Russia or Venezuela or from any other communist country, they who want to destabilize America. They must be on their payrolls. That's how they want to destabilize the republics and the democracies.
Have you ever heard of Robbie Starbuck?
Robbie Starbuck.
He's in the Nashville, Tennessee area, but he just put on his X, George Soros has given $132,000 to the WESPAC Foundation. This is a group over students for justice in Palestine. He's also given $650,000 to a group called JVP. These groups are funding, these PACs, if you will, are funding these protests. And George Soros is funding the PACs that are funding the protest. So that's a money trail, but they're now calling it the Summer of Love 2024. Violence makes an early appearance and is spreading fast. It's in the Gateway Pundit talking about the Columbia University and the Palestine protesters. And there was a breakout in Emory College in Atlanta just a few moments ago. And this thing I just played from Boston College. So they're trying to start a global, I guess, a state-to-state Palestinian disruption here in America. And don't you think the timing's awful interesting that Biden just might have to call off the election for a state of emergency?
Yeah, maybe these all people, what I think, I may be wrong, but my analysis say that these people have shaken hand with each other. Okay. Do you remember what happened in the May of 2020? Do you remember that? Just before the elections, when the Black Lives Matter movements happened?
Yep.
And it just engulfed the whole of America. The most of the stores in New York City were rampaged. The things were stolen. And it's happened in all the major cities. The same thing. History is repeating itself. And then these people say, or these anti-American, elected official says that this is not Antifa. Then what is Antifa?
Antifa, they're just thugs.
Because these people only support Antifa to create so much distress in the society that people become scared. But they are forgetting the one thing. The Constitution of America runs on its Constitution, not on their will and power.
That's right. And the thing I think is interesting you've brought up is the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, now this Palestinian support group, all have... not only in America. I have also seen in India. In India, the farmer protest happened 2 years back, and now it's again going on. And where the money is coming? Money is coming from Canada, from America. And who is sponsoring? George Soros. Who is sponsoring? The Al Jazeera channel. Who is sponsoring? There are some pockets. China is sponsoring. The ISIO Pakistan is sponsoring. So this is not new. Do you think that's one reason they hate Trump, because he make America great again? He's a nationalist, and they are globalists. I think that's the biggest fear.
So in my view, they will hate any pro-American patriot because they will put the hurdle in their path. They will open the cases where they have done the corruption. He will ask and ask and ask why this is not being done and why we are doing this. So that's why it's not only to Trump. Trump just put himself up, right? That, okay, I want to make America back what it was in 1950s and 60s when I was growing up, right? If anybody, let's say tomorrow Vivek or Tim Scott or anybody, right, came up, even if Kennedy, let's say in 2028 Kennedy came up as a president, and he wants to make the reforms, he wants to stand up, they will try to make his life miserable.
Well,
Just like they are making Trump's life miserable.
Look what they did to Nixon. Nixon not only was his first 4 years successful, he won re-election by the largest margin of any president. And then, but he wanted to go back on the three things they talked him into was trade with China, getting off the gold standard, and opening up. They allowed pharma to advertise on television. You know, back before Nixon, it was not. They could not advertise their drugs on television.
Yeah,
those are big three things.
Kennedy, JFK Kennedy, they get rid of him because I watched the movie 13 Days, right? When the Cuban missiles or things happened, they want to attack Soviet Union. They said, no, I don't want any fight with another major power. I want peace. So the deep state don't want him because he was asking peace. He was asking, I don't want any confrontation. That's what the Trump wants. He was bringing back his soldiers, his army men and women back to the country. He said, I don't want any war. Why should I want war? I want my economy, my people to prosper. War will bring poverty. Do you know, Pastor, how much trillion we have spent on these two wars in Afghanistan and Iraq? Do you have any idea?
No. Do you have any numbers?
$2 trillion. $2 trillion. And you know how much money we are paying as an interest? You know how this money was raised? This money was raised by the government bonds, and these bonds were purchased by the countries outside, like China, India, France, Belgium. All those countries purchased the government bonds. And you know how much interest will be paid to these countries for taking this $2 trillion around the world? Fucking $6 trillion. For $2 trillion, you have taken the loan, you are paying $6 trillion by 2030. Who will call you a good banker?
Well, I don't. Have you ever heard of Saul Alinsky? He wrote.
Sorry?
Saul Alinsky. He wrote the book Rules for Radicals. But here are his 8 principles. He said to control a country. Number 1 is health care. Control health care. Number 2, poverty. Increase poverty level as high as possible. Poor people are easier to control. Debt. Increase the debt to an unsustainable level like you just mentioned. Gun control. Welfare. Education. Religion. Class welfare. But the debt is, I think, they've done everything but confiscate the guns and remove religion. 6 of the 8 things Saul Alinsky said do to overthrow America has been done.
Yeah, that's what they are doing. And if you see very closely, they are very much successful in their plans, in their strategies. The poverty is increasing day by day. People are the debt is increasing like a rocket at a rocket speed. If you see, they want to control the guns. In Jersey, you can't. It's very, very tough to get a gun license. And in many states, not in Jersey, New York, many states I have heard is very tough. So, in short, what they want to burn one of the wonder of the world, the Constitution of America, and make it as a banana republic under their thumb. That's all they want.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. New York mayor has said a couple of times that the borders, claiming the northern border with Canada, they are a sanctuary city. As you know, they get a lot of stuff. How has that affected New Jersey?
See, it's a metal pot here, you know. In Jersey, everything what happened in New York is impacted. This tri-state, I will say, not only Jersey, the tri-state, New York, Connecticut, and Jersey. If one has a cold, the other 2 states will sneeze. And which generally has a cold? New York, always. And which are the 2 other states which sneezes? It's Connecticut and New Jersey.
So you guys, because, hey, we got a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Okay, sir.
Stand on the
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-708-3092. 800-708-3092. That's 800-708-3092.
This is Macil Duncan. My new book, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Lifeway Books, Thrifty, wherever you get your online material. Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith That Can Overcome. Don't forget my radio show is every day, 3 to 6 p.m. on the Street Level America and U.S. Radio Today Heartbeat. We're in 32 states and multiple countries, and thanks so much. Move Your Mountains by Macil Duncan.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. 800-957-6062. That's 800-957-6062. Paid for by Term Direct.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. 800-803-3771. That's 800-803-3771.
The far left.
And we have breaking news. Disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein's New York conviction for felony sex crimes has just been overturned by the State Court of Appeals. The court ruled that the judge made an error when allowing other sexual assault victims of Harvey Weinstein to testify in that case. The decision leaves open the possibility that District Attorney Alvin Bragg could indict Weinstein again on the same charges. So that ruling does not mean Weinstein will walk free. He's currently serving time in a New York prison, but he will be transferred to the custody of prison authorities in California, where he was also convicted on a rape and sexual assault charges and sentenced there. A spokesperson for Weinstein tells ABC News, "We are happily surprised."
So I don't know if you heard, Angus, Harvey Weinstein, 3 liberal female judges in New York have decided to drop charges on him, on rape charges. Did you hear about that?
Charges on whom? Trump?
No, on Harvey Weinstein. You remember the mogul movie guy? The Me Too movement turned on him, and
yeah, Me Too movement. Yeah, exactly. I remember now. Yeah.
So my question is this: you got Harvey Weinstein just out of the blue. These 3 liberal appeals court judges decide to drop the case on him, but it puts him back in the news cycle. I'm wondering if what they're going to try to do is get Harvey Weinstein back in the news cycle, an old guy that's perverted in New York, and try to splash onto Trump because, that Gene Carroll got a ruling against Trump. He's now in the hush money. I just wonder if they're trying to get people to think bad of Trump, because I know this may sound like a conspiracy theory, but I think the timing of this is awful suspect. What about you?
See, the thing is that these liberal judges, they have only one agenda, right? To screw the Trump, left, right, center, top, bottom, whatever they want to do, they will do it. He not only has the relations with Trump, right? He has a friendship with hundreds of other top businessmen, top politicians. He had a friendship with Bill Clinton and Hillary too. Why don't they speak
This
up against him?
$30 bag is taking
He
the
has
travel industry by
relations with the prince of what was his name? Prince Andrew, right? Why don't they speak against him? Why always the Trump is on the limelight? Because these people are scared that if he comes in power, he will make right the right and wrong the wrong. And then where these people will land, God knows.
Well, the thing is that they can't get away from when Donald Trump was president, prior to COVID, in 2018, we were energy independent for the first time in 75 years. And I repeat that like a broken record, because I want to remind folks, we were energy independent and we led the world in export of coal, clean coal, natural gas, and petroleum. And the guess which nation suffered? Ukraine. The Ukraine energy that is now, we're finding out, had a lot of American politicians' children employed. Mitt Romney, Paul Pelosi Jr., and John Kerry, the former Secretary of State's stepson, and et cetera, and Hunter Biden. They couldn't have that. So I'm amazed, my friend, that Ukraine stayed in the conversation all the way from Obama's administration through Donald Trump till now. If people just go back and look at it, and the guy that's currently their president was a comedian playing the role of a president on a sitcom.
And he's still the comedian. He's still the puppet.
Oh, yeah.
He's still the puppet. And whatever is being ordered from his masters, he do that. Okay? As I told you, I was in Virginia. So we went to Americans from Tax Reform office. And there was some meeting over there, and we have some conference and, going over there. And there were Ukrainian guys who came, and they said, we need the Republican support to pass the bill and all this. I spoke with him one-to-one. So long story short, I asked him, where is the money we have sent almost $200 billion? Oh, we never received that money. I said, okay, if you never received that money, how do you say that whatever we send now, you are going to receive it? If you have not received the previous amount, the previous donation, the previous artillery, the previous guns, or whatever the Congress passed, how are you confident that you are going to receive this? Oh, we are 100% confident we are going to receive this. I said, that's not the data point. You have to come to me with the data points.
Well, do you think deep down, because I've done it on some shows several times, but I believe there's people at this upper level, no matter who's president, that kind of tells everybody what to do. Do you kind of? They call it the deep state, the Illuminati, etc. But there seems to be a powerful group of people that, and really, I'm going with that. Have you ever heard of a thing called the Q theory?
No, Q theory is also okay, but have you heard they call them lobbyists, the think tanks?
Oh, exactly. But I'm saying, I think people like the Q theory, I think they've messed with everyone's minds, and so many propagandas and theories and conspiracy theories, it keeps us all doubting elections, doubting leadership, and doubting the economy. So therefore, we don't know who to trust. Do you sense that?
Isn't that, Pastor? These lobbyists are the most corrupt people on the earth. These think tanks are not any think tank. These are like the pimps of the rich and the spoiled categories, right?
You know, Boheimer, the former Speaker of the House, he's actually being paid by the CCP. He's a lobbyist for the Chinese Communist Party now to help get them through the different things you have to do through Washington. So we've got politicians working for the enemy.
No, whom are you referring to, Mitch McConnell or who?
No, Boheimer, the former Speaker of the House.
Oh, Boheimer.
He was a Republican.
Mitch McConnell, his wife is a Chinese lady.
Well, Mitch McConnell's wife, yes, Boheimer was before Mitch McConnell. You remember Boheimer? He was Speaker of the House, but now he's a lobbyist for the Chinese, the CCP.
That's what I'm saying. These people are what?
It's so Sasser from Tennessee.
But these are not the lobbyists. This is not the lobbyist work. Yeah, lobbyists always work in the favor of your country. It don't work against your country.
But
if you see now, I will just take 10 more seconds. If you see now, they were against Trump when he said we have to decouple with China, right? Every shit was thrown on Trump on that our economy will go away, we will become this will happen, we will lose jobs, blah, blah, blah. Lots of, every channel was against this. Now, after 5 years, we are seeing the impact. China is sinking. I don't know if you know that or your reviewers know that, the Sensex of China, the market of China, has lost $7 trillion so far because FDIs, which is foreign direct investment, are not coming in China. They are moving away from China to other countries like Vietnam, Korea, India, Burma, or any other countries they are moving, right? So if the money is not coming from outside, how this happened in 5 years? Why it doesn't happen in the last 20 years? Because if you plant a seed, the plant will not start giving fruit within a day. It takes him 2 to 3 years to bring the fruit. That's what the fruit of now we are having. The decoupling happened, and now that was a major policy changer for America towards China under Trump administration.
We're out of time, buddy. We're gonna have to wrap it up, but thanks for coming on the show, and I appreciate you being a listener and a patriot, my friend.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for inviting me again, and hopefully we will talk soon more on other issues which our country is facing.
Yes, sir. God bless, my friend. That's one of my listeners from New Jersey, Ankish, and I butcher his name, but he's from India. 13 years he has done everything right in getting his green card. He's yet to be approved as a citizen. And it burns him that all these folks are just being rushed in the country, given all this free stuff. And he loves this country, and he's become Republican and loves Donald Trump and conservative ways, and I appreciate that. Here's another reason why I think the Democrats are nervous.
All of us, and after what's happened the last 4 years in this country, Democrats are basically pushing everybody to the other side.
USA! 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 This was in New York, a group of construction workers that in a union said they're voting Trump for the first time. A Democratic union has switched to Trump. I say that to say I'm not so much saying, hey, just believe everything Trump says, but it seems like folks are saying, hey, yakety yak, Biden, it's time to pack. I'll be back tomorrow.
Hiding how you call the cat. You're tripping over more than floors. All your malarkey out the door. Yakety yak, time to pack. You're always changing up your tune. Slurp their agenda with a spoon. And you don't have to be too bright.
I've done some dumb things.